Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
The Stock Movers Report, your roundup of companies making moves in the stock market, harnessing the power of Bloomberg data.
Let's look at some of the stocks on the move today here in Europe. I'm Caroline Hepker and I'm joined by Bloomberg's equities reporter, Chloe Millet. Good morning, Chloe. So shares in the chocolate maker Lindt are down. I mean, this is a big picture story around Switzerland, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've seen weakness across the Swiss market this morning because of the news of that 39% tariffs on Switzerland, which was announced last week. But we didn't get a reaction on Friday from Switzerland because that was a holiday on the 1st of August on Friday. But today we can see how that the market is kind of digesting that news, and we are down across kind of three of the biggest sectors for Switzerland. So you mentioned Lindt, that's the chocolate making sector, which is really important for Switzerland, and Lindt was down this morning. We've also got watchmakers, so that includes Richemont, for example, obviously across that luxury market, but particularly known for its watches, and Swatch. So those two are also down. And of course, pharmaceuticals, so Novartis and Roche actually make 30% of the Swiss market index weight. So those are really important, and the pharma sector is facing pressure from those tariffs, but then also from Trump trying to lower US drug prices. So they face those kind of two major obstacles, and we have seen that weakness in the Swiss market as a whole, but perhaps not as down as we originally thought. That's probably because a lot of analysts and economists are expecting that this is actually the opening of negotiations rather than the final rate. So that's a caveat to keep in mind. And it's probably not the last that we hear about that Swiss tariff story.
No, absolutely. I mean, the Swiss were celebrating their national day. You normally see fireworks and bonfires and all sorts of things. But yeah, it must have been a pretty difficult day.
Yeah, absolutely.
There. In terms of the UK, let's think about lenders here, because there was also an important court decision on Friday.
Yeah, lots happening on Friday, actually. Yeah. And we're seeing everything happening today as a result. So quite a big boost for Lloyds, but then also for Close Brothers, which was up more than 20% this morning, and SNU. So those three names are kind of the key names that were associated with the UK motor finance case. So the latest update with that is on Friday, the UK Supreme Court ruled in favour of the lenders, which means that they're on the hook for lower compensation than originally expected. That's because the court said that the banks should only pay compensation in the most serious cases of motor finance mis-selling. So now we're actually looking at a figure of at least £9 billion, which is obviously quite steep, but really not as bad as the more than 30 billion that was originally estimated. And that is a major relief for the industry. And we can see that with those shares across that sector this morning.
Now, what is providing a lift to Air France?
Yeah, so again, also a sector story there with multiple names. So we got actually upgrades from underweight to equal weight from Barclays for three of the key names in that airline sector in Europe. So we've got Air France, but also Lufthansa and IAG, which owns British Airways. This follows recent earnings reports from all three of those airlines, which all reported actually fairly solid results with profit ahead of estimates for all three. So this is kind of a vote of confidence in the sector, and one of the major things that those three airlines have benefited from is that they performed really well on premium cabins, actually, especially on transatlantic routes, which helped offset weakness in the in economy cabins, and they also benefited from lower fuel prices. But they are rated equal weight, but not overweight yet, because there are a couple of challenges to keep in mind. There's currency headwinds, geopolitical tensions, of course, that are disrupting travel routes. Still happening now. High labour costs. So some of those things are still weighing on the sector. So vote of confidence, but we're not completely out of the woods yet.
The Stock Movers Report from Bloomberg Radio. Check back with us throughout the day for the latest roundup of companies making news on Wall Street. And for the latest market-moving headlines, listen to Bloomberg Radio live. Catch us on YouTube, Bloomberg.com, and on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with the Bloomberg Business app.